And with their 4th win on the season, the Miami Dolphins take down the New York Giants at home. And honestly, a game that was not very pretty. It was not a perfect game by any means, but Miami still dominated the Giants. And that's super important. With a mixture of some questionable play calling and some questionable passes that ended up being interceptions. This game ended up looking a lot closer than it should have been at some points in the game, but it was still a complete dominance by Miami. If you look at total yardage and you look at the stats and the Giants players, I'm going to get into that a little bit. It was never a competition. We were clearly dominating them on all fronts, on offense, on defense. There is nothing the Giants can do, and we screwed up many times by giving the Giants opportunities to make something happen, and they still never did. So I'm just going to pick apart from this game what I think is most important, because obviously this is a game we were going to win. There was no ever concern going into this game, oh, we might lose, oh, this might be a tough game. The Giants are horrible. One of the worst teams in NFL. So we got to take away what we can from this game. That's not just us being a good team playing a bad team. Individual performances and overall takeaways from both sides of the ball. And what I want to see probably going into the next week too, before we hit a big game against Philly 2 weeks from now. And the first thing I got to talk about before we discuss anything is Devon Achane. Because, oh my God, this dude could actually be not only the Rookie of the Year, but just one of the most talented players on this team. And that is insane to talk about when, like, obviously, you know, if you're a Dolphins fan, we got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, to a Raheem Mostert, and Achane is just looking like a complete and utter monster. He can't be stopped. I mean, he ripped a 76-yard touchdown. He hit almost 22 miles per hour. I think the clock in was like 21.7 miles per hour, which is insane. That is track speed. And it looked so casual for him. You know, it looked effortless. He outran the defense, never stood a chance. They were like, dude, you look at him running, and it's obvious he's running hard, but it doesn't look like he's not running nearly as hard as those Giants trying to catch him. Like, they are swinging their arms. They're just like borderline about to rip something trying to catch him, and he's just letting it go. Like, he doesn't care. He's just moving. It's so fun to see, you know. And this Dolphins team has had trouble finding a good running back for a while now. And Mostert coming in last year looked pretty good. Jeff Wilson didn't look too bad when we traded for him middle of the year last year, but they have not looked like this consistently, at least. I mean, this is a consistent basis. 3 weeks now, Achane has looked unstoppable. Too fast, too shifty, too elusive. And it's so nice to see. It's so refreshing to see that not only can this team beat you through the air really bad, because, you know, Tyreek Hill had 8 catches for 181 yards and a touchdown, but we can beat you on the ground just as badly with 11 carries, 151 yards and a touchdown from Achane alone. It is insane. And while we're on the topic of Tyreek Hill, who I just brought up, I mean, I already said the stats for him: 8 catches, 181 yards and a touchdown. He was also insane, unguardable. You know, he had a 69-yard touchdown reception, and I think he actually did end up clocking in at 22 miles per hour on that run, which is, like, it's unbelievable. It is insane how fast our players are on this team. Like, I don't know how defenses expect to match that, because 22 miles per hour is a speed that you can't expect normal players to catch up with. That is actually just insane speed, to the point where you're not going to see many people in the league matching that ever. Once he rips it off and he's hitting that kind of miles per hour, once you get to like over 20, you're outrunning, you know, average athletes. And you're getting to the point where you just got to rely on like super athletes to be able to catch up with people like that. And that's not the norm, you know. The average NFL player at any position is not hitting damn near 22 miles per hour on every time they have the ball. It is insane. And the ones that do, that doesn't always mean they're good. I mean, you got, like, yeah, sure, John Ross could probably catch Tyreek Hill, but one, John Ross isn't playing defense, and two, John Ross sucks. Like, dude, I couldn't even tell you what team John Ross is on right now. I think the last team I knew he was on was the Giants, and I don't think he even caught a pass for him. If he did, it didn't matter. I didn't see it anywhere. You know what I mean? We're full of speedy players on offense that aren't just fast, but they're good at the game. They're good at football. They know how to use their speed to win games and get big gains and stay healthy. A lot of these guys, you know, they avoid big hits. Tyreek Hill avoids big hits. Achane was running a little rough today, But honestly, it's like, it's the Giants. He was going off. I'm sure he just had his adrenaline pumping. He didn't care. Moser was running hard too, which I don't want to see that every week. But it's also nice to see that these speedy guys can run hard. But it's nice to see Tyreek Hill. Big game for him. I know he'll have another big game against Carolina next week. I can't really remember if that game's at home or not. Doesn't really matter. I kind of hope it's not. I kind of hope we play at Carolina, because I would not like to waste a home game against a sorry team like the Panthers. But you don't know. You never know. So that was good. Chedrick Wilson, I think, had his best game as a Dolphin, which is only 4 catches for 52 yards. I can't remember him ever really having a meaningful football game with us. I was kind of surprised when we re-signed him. I was kind of excited for him when we got him from the Cowboys, but, he's never really been much. Even as a return guy, hasn't really done much for us. But I guess with all the injuries, we have a receiver, Craycraft, out, and Eric out, that moves up room in the depth chart for someone like Cedric to actually get some snaps. Surprised we didn't see Chosen at all, because I feel like Chosen isn't bad. I feel like he could be a good wide receiver too on a lot of teams, but on our team, man, he's barely able to even be a third receiver. So I don't know, maybe he's just not that good. But nice to see Cedric Wilson could step up if we need him to. Had a 23-yard reception. That was pretty nice. Waddle had a pretty quiet game except for his touchdown, but he was averaging 7 yards per catch, 5 for 35. It wasn't anything special, but we didn't really need to be passing too much this game. We passed a lot more than I think we should have, especially with how good Achane and Mostert are running the ball for the most part. But Braxton Berrios was quiet too. This wasn't the game where you really need to see people pop off besides the running backs. Tua threw 2 ugly picks, but I think the first one could be chopped up. The play calling, I don't know why we were trying to throw the ball when we were on like the 2-yard line. So, but the second one was on Tua. Waddle was not ready for the ball, and he still threw it. And Tua knew that. Threw it too high anyway. But if Tua, if he's going to make mistakes, which every quarterback does, at least he's making them in games like this where we were just dominating anyway, and the Giants never really had the game in their hands. So it's, it's good for Tua to get some of this rustiness out, get some of these bad plays out before we go and play like the Eagles or the Chiefs coming up in these next couple of weeks. Regardless, I'm content with how the team played overall. Definitely mistakes, but mistakes will always happen. Like, even the best of teams will make mistakes. We just need to learn from them and, make sure they don't happen again. Be better next week against the Panthers. Be better, and then be better the week after that against the Eagles and against the Patriots, against the Chiefs going into the bye week. Got to get better every week. That's what's most important. The Bills took a very hard loss today. New England might be the worst team in the league. It's between New England and the Panthers, and we play the Panthers next week, so that's good news for us. As I'm making this, the Giants are beating Denver with not a lot of time left in the fourth quarter, so the Jets might come away with a win against Denver. There's still time left. They might not. I'm not really too worried about it. I kept up with that game a little bit. Zach Wilson was not playing good. A lot of people were hyping him up. Oh, he played so good last week. He's finally become a good quarterback. I wasn't buying into it. And, of course, this week against Denver, against the worst defense in the league, he has not looked very good. So I'm not worried about the Jets. But the Bills taking a loss was huge for us. And I also wanted to get into the defense. Held Daniel Jones to under 120 yards passing. He was 14 for 20. Daniel Jones was accurate, but he was only averaging 6 yards per pass. Those completions were not going anywhere. Jones was sacked 6 times. Tyrod Taylor was sacked once. Tyrod came into the game and was playing a little better than Jones. Went 9 for 12 for 86 yards, 7.2 yards per attempt. Not a lot better, though. Our defense, the run game was non-existent. Their head guy, Eric Gray, I've never heard of him before. I really thought Matt Breida would be toting the rock for him mostly, but Eric Gray had 12 carries for only 25 yards, averaging 2.1 yards per carry. Absolutely atrocious. Daniel Jones had 4 carries for 24 yards, averaging 6 yards per carry, but on design quarterback runs, those are harder to account for. I'm not too worried about it, though. Matt Breida, 9 for 21, 2.3 yards per carry. We were shutting the run game down. That could be accounted towards the Giants' horrible offensive line, but I think it's our defense, getting their heads on their shoulders and bouncing back. 7 total sacks. That's really good. Jerome Baker and Emmanuel Ogbah both had a sack and a half. Ginkle had a sack. He should have 2. One of them got called back though, which sucks, but Ginkle played pretty good. He also had a TFL. Ginkle was someone I was really looking forward to seeing how they performed. Again, he's been having a very good year, possibly a career year for him with Phillips being out. I'll be interested to see what his snap count looks like once Phillips comes back into the game, once he gets healthy. But I expect Phillips to be back next week against the Panthers, so we'll see then. But let's see here. Zach Zeiler, I want to say his name is. Could be wrong. Let me know. But he had 2 sacks and 3 TFLs with 7 tackles. He had a really good game. He was a game wrecker for sure. Absolutely insane. Other than that, David Long had a TFL, 9 tackles. This was pretty nice. Eli Apple was flying around too. Eli Apple had half a sack, 9 tackles. Was looking pretty physical this game. So I guess he has that going for him. I don't think he was too good in coverage. He had the pass deflection, so he had that going for him. But I don't expect really to see him getting a lot of play time once Ramsey comes back in December. Really excited for that. Y'all can't forget about that. We still don't have Jalen Ramsey. Cater Cahoe, sorry. I had TFL. He was blowing up screenplays. He was also looking pretty physical. Had 7 tackles and a QB hit. So honestly, was a good outing by our defense. If it wasn't for the pick 6, this game would have been literally would have been 9-31. They had 4 field goals, and honestly would have been less. If you take away the interceptions, this game probably would have been 6-31. 6, honestly, more than 31. Maybe we could have ran the score up a little bit if it wasn't for some fumbles and some bad picks. But I mean, overall, dude, it wasn't a pretty game by any means, but we still dominated, which is really impressive. I really like that. I like to look at it that way. We did not play our best game. We were not perfect, and we still dominated the Giants, which is a bad team, and that is exactly what good teams are supposed to do. The bad teams is dominate them, and that is exactly what we did. Next week we go and we play the Panthers. I'm going to try and check real quick if that's at home or not. Schedule. Okay, so we do play the Panthers at home, it seems. That should be another easy win. Another game to try and get us ready for Philadelphia, which we play at Philly. That is an away game. So that will be a really hard game for us. But I think we have a chance. We just need to stay healthy. Playing the Panthers is really the biggest thing. I don't care. We could beat the Panthers 17-13. I don't really care as long as we stay healthy and we stay prepared for Philadelphia, who we play primetime at Philly. Man, it's going to be a big game. But I liked how we played, guys. Enjoy the victory Monday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I want to try and make more videos this week. I didn't get a lot out last week. I got a lot going on in my personal life. And the Dolphins losing to the Bills the way they did. My motivation was down, but I want to try and pump these videos out better and more videos for y'all. So stay tuned for that, and I will catch y'all in the next video.